Roblox is a game that needs no introduction. However, that's not gonna stop me. It was already a massive game for many years, but it recently ramped up in popularity over the course of the pandemic. Nowadays, it's one of the most popular online games ever. And some of that success is most definitely due to its easy accessibility. You can be on an Xbox, laptop, or even your mom's iPad, and you'd still be playing the same game. At least, mostly. And paired with the fact that anyone can make a game for anyone with the built-in engine, is it really that much of a wonder why this game's so popular? And, as with everything else online, when so many people have access to something, you already know someone's gonna make something that's a bit too unique. So, venture with me as I make my way to the absolute bottom of the barrel. Weird Roblox games. The first game we'll be looking at is the normal elevator. This is going to be the most popular game in this video, since the way I see it, the more popular a game is, the more normal it's perceived as by a general audience. The normal elevator has you, well, going in an elevator, and whenever it stops, one of the 31 different events occur. These can range from seeing something a bit unusual, to getting taken to the void from a shadow demon, then right to eating food with the boys. The fun in this game comes from trying to survive in the elevator for as long as possible. And while some things play out more like cutscenes, some events are more like actual minigames. And some of these minigames can be straight up weird, like this one where you fly into a giant toilet. And while they're certainly a bit lacking when reviewed separately, as a collective I think the combined games make something decently unique. But after a while you'll end up seeing everything the game has to offer. Definitely not bad, but also a bit strange sometimes. The next game is SIREN Cop's Prison. Obbies are one of the most popular genres on Roblox. Of course, right next to Tycoons. It's a giant obstacle course that has obstacles that prevent you from reaching the end. And obviously, to combat the repetitiveness of these kinds of games, most people combined it with a pre-existing IP. This one doesn't do that, but it does fuse the concept of an obby with some horror elements to form SIREN Cop's Prison. So in this game, you play as a criminal who is imprisoned for tax evasion, but as you escape, you realize that things aren't entirely the way they seem. The prison seems to be haunted by several spooky antagonists. Now, before I go into detail, I need to warn you. If you continue to watch, you'll get so scared you'll actually die of being just too scared. So we start out in a jail cell, and this place kinda sucks. This place has shit stains, cockroaches, and pictures of these guys. And also, the toilets seem to be radioactive. But luckily for you, there's a vent you can go through to begin your grand escape. You go through platforms, steam, and spikes, and then we finally make it to this room. And at first, it seems like there isn't anything special here. But then, a scary jump scare! And then we make it to stage 5. Here's where things start to take a big turn for the worse. This is the first level that has this guy. Now, he's a pretty cool guy. A true gamer even. Although I will say his lack of eyes is definitely going to affect his performance. So more levels go by and there are new mechanics being introduced every few levels. Like moving platforms, lightning, and now we even have zombies. Now these guys don't move much, but they will kill you if you get too close. Later on, we get to some sort of maze we have to dig through. You need to make it through the rooms while being careful not to accidentally free the cop guys, or else they will murder you instantly. Why are there eyeless cops inside the ground? I wish I could answer that. So after going through the rest of the levels and playing with all the different mechanics, we finally make it to the final levels. In this level, you have to jump around green slime and avoid an evil ghost that's trying to get you. Then we make it to the final level. Okay, cool. We make it to the escape train, and we get to look at all the cool PNG images of trees as we finally escape. Next up, we gotta escape the supermarket. So, this is another obby. This one centers around a grocery store, and more specifically, having to escape it. I know, pretty crazy. But before we get into the very original and not at all uninspired gameplay, we must first talk about the story of the game. So you're in the grocery store, and then the owner traps everyone inside for some reason. And instead of just shooting him or fighting back in any way, we just kind of allow him to vibe there while we try to escape. Oh no! The supermarket owner's gone mad and locked everyone inside! Try to escape! You start off in the front of the store, but because the front door is locked, you have to go deeper into the store to get out. The first obstacle in the game is a couple of spilled cans, but they must be laced with rat poison or something because as soon as you try to touch them, you fucking die. After crawling through a vent, I find myself in an aisle covered in spilled juice and flour. I don't know why it's bright ass pink, but whatever, I guess. Then we make it to the world of Coke and Pepsi, and these bottles are straight up melting into the floor. Beware of fruits. Those are carrots. After that, we get trapped in the owner's basement. That's it, I just wanted to point that out. Then we make our way through a meat cellar and to a library. We still haven't left the supermarket, by the way, so we just go through the book rooms and try to make our way to the exit. And that's actually somewhat difficult because the map is actually fucking huge. Then we use a metal boat to make our grand escape. And then we run with superhuman speed to avoid the incoming traffic and then win the game. Something I want to add is after beating the obby, one of the maps you can teleport to is Cartwright into Paw Patrol. And in this game, you do this. Next up is Survive from Coca-Cola Man. Damn, bro, 2 games about corporations in a row? When you spawn in the house, you start with 4 items. A cell phone, a picture camera, a radioactive night vision video camera, and a can of Pepsi. Here we can see my man, Friend. Let's see what he has to say.
Bro, Coca-Cola Man in city. Scared. I'm will hide in house, dude. You hide too.
Unfortunately for Friend, instead of hiding, I'll just take a quick look around and oh cool, look at that, it's Coca-Cola Man. And he must have caught you drinking something healthy like water, cause he's pissed. Just look what he did to Pepsi Man. So the goal of the game is to survive Coca-Cola Man, and that, honestly, really isn't that hard. While he may be faster than you on foot, as you can see at the beginning of the game, Coke Man is kind of stupid. He runs straight in your direction and has no pathfinding whatsoever, so if you can find a way to hide in any building, including the one you spawn in, you're completely safe. There are also cars you can use to run away from him, and they drive at like Mach 7. As easy as it would be to just lampoon the game for being bad, it's at least better than other Survive the Killers games. The map is at least unique, and not just a copy-pasted asset of a treehouse with a few morphs. And besides, how could you possibly hate on a game made by the Pepsi Man 1? Also, Coca-Cola Man is buff as shit, and he can and will beat your ass if he gets close enough to you. So anyways, surviving from Coca-Cola Man is a silly little game. Next up, we have Thomas.EXE, and this game just doesn't work. And that's because the button to teleport straight up didn't work. We tried asking for help for a bit, but eventually we figured out we could just jump over the train tunnel. Then we walked for a long time until there was finally an opening to the rest of the map. Then we saw this. This amalgamation of duplicated assets is what used to be Thomas the Tank Engine. And he's a little bit wacky, especially because there are a bunch of faces on the inside. Someone help me, please, mom, pick me up. This whole game is just unfinished and bad. I obviously didn't play it for long because there wasn't any content to extract. The last game is gonna be Roblox EXE Sonic EXE. Yeah, doing 2 spooky EXE games in a row seems like it would be a bit repetitive, but after that literal train wreck of a game, I felt a need for another attempt at horror. And as we know, horror games on Roblox are always terrifying. In fact, this game is so scary that my friend Sam refused to leave the closet. Can someone please get him out? So we spawn in a room with blue walls, and we see 2 dead bodies lifeless on the floor. How spooky. The PNG image blood really added to the immersion. We stumbled across more dead bodies, then we all jumped down a large hole. At the bottom was Roblox himself. We asked Mr. Roblox to help us out, but instead he decided to disappear and leave us falling into a dark, empty abyss. We found another dead body, then someone threw a flashbang or something because I am no longer able to see. Someone help. The flashbang must have been important or something because it spawned a Mario pipe that led to a dark maze. The maze also has a pipe that leads to Baldi's Basics. However, the pipe was glitched or something because as soon as I entered it, I immediately got teleported back to where I was. And this leads to an endless loop of non-stop pipe shenanigans that leaves you in purgatory, a space between pipes. Eventually, I was able to get to Baldi's Basics, and inside there were a bunch of empty rooms. Huh. Now, if my recap of events sounds a bit like a fever dream, that's because this entire game played like one. I never saw Sonic.EXE himself in the entire game, and progressing was made nearly impossible thanks to the pipes. So yeah, this game is not very good. Anyways, I don't like Roblox very much. Goodbye.
Excuse me.